Well, we've had one day of high drama. I think we're in for another day of high drama. We've just heard that we've had the first resignation over this draft deal. The Northern Ireland minister has written a letter to Theresa May saying he can't stand by the deal, so he's resigned from his post. He's a member, obviously, of her own party. This is the first blow, although I think there may be a few more for Theresa May on the way. Let's have a look, though, at what the newspapers have been saying about this draft deal. If we start here with the Financial Times, May braced for backlash after winning ferocious Brexit battle. So there we go. We already saw the start of that with that first resignation just a couple of moments ago. The next one. It's my deal or no Brexit. So this is Theresa May. She said this last night. She's trying to make it very clear that she's going to be unwavering on this deal. It's this deal or nothing, really. She's warning that there is no other options. We've heard her say that this really is the best opportunity that she can think of in this situation for the UK. And finally, it wouldn't be the UK newspapers without one that's a little more pithy, should we say, the Sun here. We're in the Brexit, missing an H there. And that probably sums up how a lot of people perhaps are feeling here in the UK. This is a country that's divided. This is a parliament that's divided. And as we know, this is a cabinet that is divided. That cabinet meeting where Theresa May had to get her own troops, so to speak, over the line took more than 5 hours on Wednesday. So it's very clear that this is a deal that certainly not everyone's happy with. And in fact, many people think is a terrible compromise.
It sounds like she has some challenges ahead. How difficult will it be for May to push this draft deal through Parliament?
Look, this is going to be very tricky for her. In the next couple of hours, she's going to address Parliament. She's going to try and explain and sell, if you like, the components of this deal. She has got a tricky time. Let's keep in mind that in Parliament, she doesn't have a majority anyway, and we're already starting to hear from a serious number of MPs who are saying they will not be voting for the deal. So the way this works, you heard this morning that a summit in Brussels has been called for the 25th of November. Now, that's when this deal will be formally tabled. Then it comes back here to the UK, and the UK Parliament has their say on it. They can vote yes or no for this deal. Now, we've heard from the Prime Minister's allies in her Parliament. They're called the DUP, the Democratic Unionist Party. They come from Northern Ireland, and they look like they're pretty unhappy with the way this deal is set out. They think it treats the UK and Northern Ireland differently, so they're not impressed by that. We're hearing from the Labour Party that they think that this deal is perhaps the worst of all worlds, so it's not perhaps looking likely that they will support Theresa May to get this legislation through Parliament, although we know she is wooing them. So we know she spoke overnight to the DUP ministers, also to Jeremy Corbyn, the leader of the opposition party, hoping she can muster some support from them. But then she's got bigger problems on her own backbench. There are the hardcore Brexiteers who think that the deal she's putting forward really is not Brexit at all, that at the end of the day the UK will still be way too aligned to the EU for their liking. Now, they've been talking about calling a vote of confidence in her prime ministership, so essentially moving towards some sort of leadership spill. Now, we haven't seen anything like that yet, but of course those rumblings are certainly happening. That's something she will have to push off. And on top of all of that, the possibility of resignations. We saw this first one. It's a Northern Ireland minister, perhaps not a huge big hitter in her government, but there was certainly consensus that around about 10 of her cabinet ministers, that's nearly half of them, weren't particularly happy with the direction of this deal, and so there is a risk that some of them in the next couple of days or weeks could also resign.